Hey guys, how you doing? So we're into the third phase of our due diligence presentation here. We've already looked at the legal due diligence. We've looked at the financial due diligence. Now we're going to look at the physical due diligence. The physical due diligence is when you go out on site and actually look at the property, look at the paperwork, and then when you're done, you put it all together to see if the deal is what you thought it was going to be. Simply put, let's start when you go to the property the first time, okay? You want to look around, you want to see if the parking lot's full, uh, the physical surroundings of the complex. Is it in a C-class area when you were told it was a B-class property? Do you see signs of a lot of commercial type buildings around? Do you see signs of check cashing uh, businesses around, or some of those the tax preparation services that are generally found in uh, certain areas of an inner city? Or you got to look at the surroundings and see, use common sense. Does it make sense that a B or a B plus building, a B or a B plus complex is located here? The location means a lot. Okay, is it close to things like a Walmart or a Burger King and McDonald's right down the street, where generally if it's a C class, your tenants are going to try to live near where they work? And they may have a couple that's both working at Walmart, or one's at Walmart, one's at McDonald's. So you need to look at the surroundings. Now when you drive into the complex, do it during the day, do it at night. You want to see what's going on in the area at night. People hanging out. Does it seem fairly calm? During the day, you want to see how many cars are there compared to number of cars at night. Check out the parking lot. Doesn't need to be redone. Some of this stuff you couldn't see on your offering memorandum. You couldn't see it on the memorandum, and it didn't show up in pictures. Is there adequate lighting at night? Do you have parking lot lights, depending on the size of the complex you're buying? Are the common area lights okay? Are they lit? This is before you even go into the property. So now you know if the surroundings and some of the very obvious facilities are what they purported to be. Are the dumpsters secured, or are they enclosed in something so that it's not an ugly view, or people trying to leave stuff outside the dumpster, not putting it in the dumpster? Some of the basics that you'd look at, obvious items, just by visual observation. So that's part of it. All right. So now when you go through with the broker, you want to make sure that you have somebody who can inspect the roof, the HVAC and plumbing, all the mechanicals that you're looking at. If there's furnaces, hot water heaters, you want to have somebody who's qualified to look at all of this. You want to go into each individual unit and write down what units need work, the type of work they need. If you find a unit that's in great condition, you don't need to write down stuff that's okay. What we're looking for here are exceptions to the rule. How many tenants do you see in the units? When you do all of this, you come back and compare it to the leases. Examining the leases is another aspect of the physical due diligence. When do the leases end? Do you have many long-term tenants? Are they all short-term? Did the current owner try to lease up everything before he sold it to make it look like things were better than they really are. Did you see, 4 beds in a unit where the lease has one person signing as the adult? And was it clear that in that unit there was more than one adult? So the rent should be more. Compare the leases to what you're actually getting in rent from that unit. Make sure they tie out. You want to look at the surrounding complexes as well, the surrounding apartments. If you've got a C-class apartment and a half mile up the road is another C-class apartment, are they competition? You're going to want to call and ask what the rents are there. You're going to want to look at the quality of the apartment. Are they paying for utilities when in fact where you're looking at purchasing, tenant pays utilities, things like that? If you got a B class property and within the 2-mile area all you see is A's and C's, then you don't really have much competition, because the whole format of the A property and the rent, as well as the C property and the rent and utilities, are going to be different, and the quality is going to be different. So you're looking at that as well. So what you want to do, and there's a lot to this, guys. You've got to think forensic here. What are they trying to do to screw me over here? So there's a lot more than what we're talking about here, and you want to make sure that you have things like a spreadsheet that's got a checklist of making sure you've checked off everything. You could use, if you have a property management company in the area that you know of, or that you may hire, or maybe the place looks pretty good and you want to ask the property management people to help you with the physical inspection of some of these items. They may turn around and not charge you as long as you hire them to continue doing the property management. But you want to be the guy, you and your partners want to be the guys that actually go into the individual apartments as well, to see what's going on. Look and see if they're paying for pest control. If they're not, or if it's not frequent enough, you need to look in the apartments for signs of pests. Are there cockroaches around? Look in the kitchen areas, look above the doorways, and places where they can crawl into. A lot of times, believe it or not, you find the cockroaches above doorways. You'll see signs of cockroaches there. So things like that, you've got to physically inspect each apartment, get into each apartment. I actually know people who've bought places where the owner has said, or the property manager has said, oh, we can't get into that unit. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. And it turned out it wasn't. It turns out that not only wasn't it a 2-bedroom, but it was an efficiency. So he's paying more money for something he's not getting. You want to look at the condition of each unit. You want to make sure that if they say you can't get into a unit, that you argue with them. Say, no, I need to get in there. You could go in and find that there's 8 people living in one of those apartments, which is totally illegal. And not only that, they're doing things there that is costing you money to have them there. So when you have all of this done, you go back and do a comparable of what your lease person, your lease business partner was looking at compared to what you physically saw in some of these apartments, and try to compare all of this. You want to look at what you had projected for capital expenditures. Does it match up with what you actually saw? Maybe you didn't count on a roof. Maybe you didn't count on having the paving of the parking lot redone. These are things that are going to be important, and documenting these things, you can go back to the current owner and say, this is not what we thought we were getting. We need to make some adjustments here before we close this deal. And you have every right to do that. So anyway, obviously this was a very quick assessment of the physical due diligence. There's a lot to it, and it's very important that you take every step. Prepare a checklist for everything you need to do. Have an individual sheet for every unit as you're looking at the leases and comparing what should be done from the application process and the research on the individual, the credit checks, things like that. Make sure that that was done and done according to the requirements of the current owners and meets your satisfaction with what you think should be done. So you look at all of this and accumulate all that data, compare the CapEx with what you're seeing with the physical inspection. CapEx, I mean capital expenditures that you projected, and the lease. Is what you're seeing in the lease review going to change what you think the actual net operating income is or will be? Can some of these people, based on their documentation as to their income, can they pay more money if you increase the lease as part of your value add? All this has to be put together. So you got a lot of work ahead of you, but hey, it's a big investment. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to your investors to be very careful about how you put all of this due diligence together, okay, from the legal to the financial to the physical. So glad I could do this. I hope this has been helpful, and we will talk to all of you soon. Thank you.